Hey, I'm Richie Castellano, and today's video is about a modular Line 6 HX setup. But before I get into that, I just want to explain why, because that's a question my friends have been asking me when I told them about this idea. So this is my rig. It's the Line 6 Helix, the full-size floor model. It's great. I use this on all the BOC gigs. I use one in the studio. It's awesome. But there are situations where I wish this was smaller. Namely, when you have to do fly-out dates where you have to fly and you can't check bags and you end up, shoving clothes in the Helix backpack and in your guitar case. And I just wish this was smaller and was more modular. So then Line 6 released something really cool. This is the HX Stomp. And in my opinion, this is a real game changer. It's something I think every guitar player should have. I carry this with me on every gig. It goes in my suitcase. And in the event that a piece of luggage doesn't make it or something breaks, this can pretty much fill any gap. It's that versatile. However, there are some limitations preventing this from being a perfect Helix replacement. Now, yeah, it has all the Helix sounds, but there's only 3 foot switches and only 6 blocks. So then I thought, what can I do to incorporate the HX Stomp with something else that would make it almost as powerful as the Helix? And I thought, wait a minute, the HX Effects. So now we have the HX Effects and the HX Stomp. So you might be saying, okay, now at this point, you might as well just bring a full Helix with you. But watch. Here's a backpack. Now, as you can see, plenty of room in there for more clothes, toiletries, cables, pedals. Zips up, goes on your back. It's lighter than the Helix. So to me, that's a big advantage and something worth exploring today in this video. This is how I want to set it up today. The way I'm thinking about this is the HX Effects will be the brain, will be the center of everything, and the HX Stomp will be where I get my core guitar sound from. This will be in charge of mainly amp modeling, maybe some EQ, but it's basically my regular tone comes from here, and all the routing and extra effects, pre and post, will come from the HX Effects. So in this example, you could actually pretty much use anything, any kind of modeler that you want. So I know that Strymon just announced the Iridium. You could use that, or you can use the Firebox, the Atomic Firebox, the little pedal guy, because this is for a modular setup. But me personally, I love the HX Stomp. This is my sound. I'm happy with this. This is what I'll be using today. And I'll show you in a second why it's a little cooler to use this. So I'm also going to be using this expression pedal. This is the regular old school Line 6 one. You can use the Mission one. You can use the Dunlop Mini. That's what a lot of people use, and it's small. Perfect for something like this. But this is what I'm going to use today. So what's essentially happening is we're doing a 4-cable method setup. 5-cable today because this is stereo, but it's a 4-cable method setup. And we're going to be using the HX Stomp as the insert. So we're going to insert the HX Stomp inside the signal flow of the effects. So here's how you do that. Okay, so what I have hooked up already is my guitar is going here into the mono input, and then I have stereo outputs going into my interface, into your ears. So you're hearing the direct sound right now from the HX Effects. Okay, so now we just want to insert the HX Stomp. So we're going to take the send here, send number 1, 1/4-inch cable, and that is going to go to the input on the HX Stomp. Okay, that's one connection done. The next one, we're going to take the return here, return number 1 from the HX Effects, and that will go connected to the output of the HX Stomp. So there you go. 4-cable method, that's done. Okay, so let me make this a little nicer. Okay, fine. Another cable I'm going to hook up here is for the expression pedal. So I have this expression pedal here, and we have the expression pedal 1 output. So that'll go here, and this will go to the expression pedal. Cool. All right. One more cable I want to hook up. Now this is optional. The expression pedal is optional too. I just like using expression pedal. What makes this a little cooler than using any old modeler, and you could, it's up to you, but what makes it a little cooler is the MIDI capabilities. So I'm going to take MIDI out over here from the HX effects and go to MIDI in on the side of the stomp. Okay. Now, let's get to programming. So, here's my Les Paul Tribute. And that is the sound of nothing. That's just direct. Okay, the first thing I want to do, I'm going to use preset 14A here and preset 34B here. You can use whatever presets you want, and we'll talk about how they're going to work together in a little bit. So I'm going to go to mode, and mode switches from presets. So see how we can see the bank and the presets? Mode switches from that to this pedal board view, okay? And it says press big knob to open model list. Great. We're going to go down to send return. Click that. We want mono because we're hooked up in mono. And we're going to do effects loop 1. So now, as you can see, the stomp is looped in. So this is going right into this. So my guitar is going straight into the stomp. So right now I'm going to move over to the stomp. And let's program inside of here. So let's go to view. Now see how view goes from the preset mode to the individual signal flow? That's important for us. So this is where we're going to do our core tone. Now for today, I'm going to use stock cabs. You can use impulse responses, and normally I would, but I'm going to use stock cabs just so I can share this preset when I'm done. Okay, so go right in the middle there, and we'll do amp cab by clicking this button. Okay, you see what I'm doing? Guitar. And I'm going to go with something that's a little dirty. I'm a big fan of the litigator. So let's try that. We're going to use the page buttons to go to all the settings. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the mic. Then I'm going to add some EQ. So press this button again. Mono, parametric, because there's a little bit of this like high-end thing that I'm not digging right now. So the trick is here. I'm going to go over to the mid gain. I'm going to boost it. And it's around there that I don't like, so now I'm going to take that out. Starting to get good. Another thing that I like to do here, which may or may not make sense to you, is I really like the high cut on the low and high cut block. I think it's a little different. It might just be my imagination. It just feels a little steeper to me than the other blocks. So. So I'll go back to the amp, and this is just tweaking. You can do this however you want to do it. I sound like Bob Ross, you know, put a little happy little presence boost here. Zero in on this frequency here that's bugging me. and maybe a little bit of a high cut, even though I did that, I mean a high boost, even though I did the cut. It's going to interact with the high cut in the way that those Pultec EQs work, kind of. Now we have a little bit of a weird mid-range thing going on in the low mid, so I'll address that. There it is. All right, I'm happy with that. So let's save it by hitting these two buttons here. And I'll call it, let's call it like HX modular or something. Okay, so I have HX modular saved and 34B on the HX Stomp. I can go crazy with doing more effects. I can put 2 more things here if I want to use these foot switches, or 3 if I want to turn off the tuner. For now, I'm just going to use this for my core tone. You can go crazy if you want. Now let's move over to the HX effects. So I want to look at the signal flow. So I'm going to hit these 3 lines here, press signal flow, and I see my effects loop, which is the stomp, is all the way in the first block. I'd rather have it in the middle. So I'm going to move it here. See how it says move block? Okay, good. But now it's taking up a foot switch. I don't need it to be taking up a foot switch. I'm not going to hit it. It's something that's going to always be on. So let's go back to the 3 lines, signal flow, see switch over there, turn that to none, and now it's gone. Okay. So let's put a drive in here, something that can kick this into even more gain. So I'll press this, go to distortion. Let's use that. That's cool. All right, let's see where it is in the signal chain. All right, it's first. That's fine for now. And it's over here on this foot switch. I think I'd rather have it on this foot switch. So I'm just going to press both of them or touch them lightly. It's going to ask me, do I want to swap? I say okay, and now it's down there. All right, let's mess with this a little bit. That's kind of cool. So we'll use that. Now I want to get sort of a maybe a different sounding distortion also. So I'll click there. Just not click it, touch it actually. Push the big knob, go to distortion, mono. Okay, something sounds wacky. Let me look at the signal flow again. Ah, this one was placed after the effects loop. No good. So we'll move that to right here. Good. That sounds more like it. Click this again. Let's try the compulsive drive. It will make this a beefier distortion. And remember to scroll between the pages. So we're seeing one page of settings here. Gain, tone, and peak. To go to the next page, use these arrows. Let's see if these gains stack well together. Nice. Probably needs to be louder. So I have like a mid-rangey kind of distortion, or like a light one, and I have a really heavy one here, a scoopy one. Like that. All right. And maybe I want to put a compressor here too, just for like a clean thing. So I'll click here, hit the big knob, dynamics, mono. Let's try the kinky comp. Let's check where it is in the signal flow. Yep, it's all the way over there. You know what? Maybe I want to make this first. So I'll move it all the way there. Oh, it's a little noisy. So, good. Go to this page here. Now that I think about it, I think I'd rather have the kinky comp here. So let's just do that. Swap them, and maybe I'll swap these two. Swap them. That's how easy it is to reorder your pedal board. It's a bit much. No, I want to change the settings here. Just touch it, and there's my settings. Okay, so let's talk about some stuff we can put after the amp now. Let's start with maybe a chorus or something. Let's go stereo, actually. Well, you know what? That might be cool. All right, we can't hear it doing its thing because it's probably in the wrong spot. So let's go back to signal flow. And yeah, it's got to be after the amp, so we'll move it. Good. Ooh, that's cool. That's really cool. I like that. So we'll stick with that. And maybe I'll also do a chorus just as an option here. So I'll go here. Big knob. Modulation. Let's try stereo. Go to my favorite Trinity. Let's make sure we know where it is. Okay, this is also before the amp. That's cool. Let's do a delay. Now, I'm going to show you what I want to do with the delay here. So, I'll go here for now. And I'll go to delay. Stereo. Let's make sure it's in the right spot. The signal flow. Good. Okay, go back home. Maybe I'll change this to... All right, I'm gonna make this tap tempo. So to do that, you see the time variable here, time parameter? I'm just going to press this once until it goes to tap, and I'll make it dotted eighth notes. So we'll do the another brick in the wall one. There it is. Maybe I'll bring that feedback down a little bit. That's cool. All right. Now, another thing I want to do is I want to be able to control the mix of this. So where's the mix? Here's the mix. I'm going to hold down this rotary encoder here because that's the one that's controlling mix. I'm going to hold it down. Then I'm going to press learn, and I'm going to do this. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm going to page over here to the minimum and maximum value, and I'm going to make the maximum value probably 50. Let's see what it sounds like. So here's the max. Min, maybe I'll do it like 42 or something. Now another cool thing. Since I have the mix here, I don't really need it here. So we can go back to signal flow, and I can click on that, transistor tape, right? And I could turn the foot switch off. So I just freed up a foot switch because I don't need that. But I can still control it here. All right, and the last thing I'll add is a reverb. So I'll go right there, big knob, reverb, do legacy, and we'll do, let's try chamber. I like chamber. You know what? Let's try something different because I always do chamber. That's cool. Let's make sure it's in the right spot. Yep, it's at the end. Now, we still have one more block here to play with. So, we don't have to put something there. But you know what? Maybe I will. So I'll move some stuff around here. So I'll move this back. Cool. I'm just making a little path here after the amp. Remember those two arrows, that's the amp. And right here, I'll press the big knob, and let's put like a really tight reverb, like a tile. Let's turn off the spring so we can really hear it. So now we have an issue. I want to edit something that isn't on the pedal board. All right, not a problem. What you do is you go back to signal flow, use the big knob to scroll over to it. I'm on it now, and see what says tile here? I just touched this, and there you go. This is just to give me a little bit of that in-the-room amp sound. And that's going to stay always on. All right, so let's save this now. And let's call this HX modular as well. Okay, so now we have the two of them working really well together. My amp tone's coming from there. I have a compressor. I could do some cool stuff with the chorus and the delay. So I can tweak this until I'm blue in the face, and so can you, and I'm gonna make this preset available for you to download. Even if you just wanna use this as a template to just get started and how you can think of some new ways to use these two units together. We're not done yet though, because I'm gonna show you a problem. So let's go over to mode. Now let's say I go, so 34B is modular here, right? HX modular, and on here it's 14A, right? So if I hit 14B and I go back to 14A, uh-oh, it doesn't go to the right place. That's because these are mapped to different program change numbers. So I'll show you how to do that. The command center is like a really confusing thing to people. It's one of the things I get asked about a lot, but it's actually pretty simple. So I'll hit the 3 lines again. We'll go to command center. Okay, we want to control this instant command here. Now, in the command center, you have 6 instant commands. These are things that happen as soon as you turn on a particular preset. Like as soon as you go to 14A, that's what's going to happen. Okay, so right now it's on none. So we're going to change that to bank PC. Right now, I'm going to put this on base. If you have multiple units and different MIDI devices, you'll need to assign things separate channels or discrete channels, but I'm going to keep it on base for now. And if you want to check here what this is on, you can go to global settings, scroll over to MIDI, and this is on MIDI base channel 1. So now you know. So back here, I'm going to page over, see where it says program. I know that the program I want is program 100. I know that because of trial and error. You might have to do this a few times to try, but I know I'm looking for program 100. Okay, good. Let me hit save. So let's test it out. Does it work? There it is, HX modular. So what we did was, when I press this foot switch to go to this preset, which is 14A, through the instant commands on the command center here, I told it, I want you to go to program 100, which I know is 34B. I know that because I tested it before we did this, just so I wouldn't waste your time doing that. You might have to do some trial and error here. But let's test it again, just to make sure it works. So here, it's on 18C, but I want this one to go to 34B. So I click here, and boom, 34B, and it works. So that's the basic principle behind how I'm using these. You could do it the opposite way if you want to do 4 cable method into the stomp instead of the effects. I just think it's better. This has more foot switches, more real estate. The routing's a little easier because you have 9 blocks. But remember, I'm not even using this to the fullest. I'm only using 3 blocks in here. I can throw 2 more effects on here if I really wanted to. But I'm trying to kind of use this as the brain, and this is just the amp. So that's how I'm doing this. And again, presets below. If you want to use this, the link to the preset on the custom tone site is going to be below. Use this as a template. Use this to tweak it to your own style. This is just to give you an idea of how I would use these 2 devices together. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I think this is a really powerful and great combination. It's lightweight, modular, easy to carry, and it's a good alternative for people who think the regular full-size Helix is a little too big or heavy to fulfill their needs. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.